What's going on, guys? Getchu1230 here with episode 42 of GTA5 Talk, and today's topic was submitted by Sergio Aguero, and he said, Gitchy, do you think we will be able to fight underwater? Talk about this, please. Smiley face, of course. So that was a top-rated comment with 14 thumbs up, so that is going to be the topic for today's video. So, Sergio, as I read your question, I immediately connected to what you said, and I agree. There needs to be some form of underwater combat, because this is Grand Theft Auto after all, and, you know, it's a very violent game, and if there's going to be underwater, there needs to be a way to defend ourselves, but also attack others, just because that loses the feel of the game. If, you know, the second you go in the water, you can't interact with anybody, you can't hit them, they can't hit you, you know, there's kind of a disconnect if they do that. So I think there will be some form of underwater combat, and even when you're just floating on the water swimming normally, but let's talk about our ideas here, let's talk about the possibilities. So, to get the most basic one out of the way, let's start out with the most obvious one, grappling. This is when you're just swimming and you can go up behind somebody and grab them, maybe put them in some sort of underwater chokehold and maybe choke them out or something like that. Or if you're swimming on top of the water, you know, just basically the same thing. Grab them from behind or put them in some sort of armbar, something like that. And obviously it's going to be difficult because you are swimming, but it's possible. You know, it's not totally impossible. You can, like, get a grapple on somebody underwater. So I think there should be, you know, certain animations for things like that, because I'm going to be really upset if I get in the water for the first time, go up to somebody, and all I can do is kind of like nudge into them and not be able to interact with them at all, you know? And I don't think that Rockstar is going to do that. I think that they will have at least a grapple, but what about underwater weapons? As we know, there are plenty of guns that fire underwater. There are fully automatic weapons that the military are using that you can submerge in mud and water and throw on the ground, and they'll still fire underwater after being, like, totally soaked. So that's the first possibility, jumping in the water and being able to use the weapons that you would normally use. But maybe they'll put a limitation on this. You know, like, picture yourself swimming, treading water. Do you think you're going to be able to lift an RPG entirely out of the water and accurately fire it? Probably not. So maybe it'll kind of be like, you know, when you're doing the drive-bys, you're limited to using a handgun or something like that. So when you're swimming, you can only hold a, like, pistol above the water. That might be a little bit more realistic. Now, as for underwater, entirely submerged gunfire in combat, that's a little bit different. I can't imagine Rockstar allowing us to just go underwater and go through our arsenal of weapons and just pull out our, you know, AK-47 or something like that and just start lighting people up underwater. So what I'm thinking is maybe there'll be something like a harpoon gun, or some sort of underwater satchel charge. This would be realistic, and personally, I think this would be totally sweet, because if you look here, you can see that it's on a rope. So not only would you be able to shoot people, but you'd also be able to pull them in towards you with the rope. And not even in the water, but outside of the water. Imagine running into Los Santos on the streets with a harpoon gun, shooting somebody, and then just dragging them behind you with the rope. Like, that would be so cool. Another thing that makes me think that we might have dedicated underwater weapons, such as the harpoon gun, is the fact that there are sharks. You know, we're gonna need some way to defend ourselves against these shark attacks, because I don't think fists are gonna be enough just, you know, against, like, a great white shark, so we're gonna need to have some sort of dedicated weapon that we can use to defend ourselves when we're scuba diving and doing underwater missions and just really anything on a boat. Because, once again, I'm gonna be very upset if I'm getting attacked by a shark and the most I can do is kind of nudge into it or just kind of, like, swing a fist at it. I want some heavy artillery, some way to really take this thing down and defend myself. So I apologize if I'm sounding needy or complaining or something like that, but you know, this is the purpose of these GTA 5 Talk videos. It's for us to exchange ideas like this and just kind of throw these things around. So then one final thing that is worth considering is also weapon attachments for our submarines. As we all know, we saw a submarine in a few of the screenshots, and we don't really know if we can attach weapons to it yet, but like a torpedo attachment would be totally awesome and have these underwater explosions, or maybe a harpoon gun attachment or anything like that, or just even some type of gun. That would be very cool, and I think it would be appropriate for the game, just for more carnage and action and really making these underwater missions very cool, you know, because in the air you've already got your dogfights, you know, two planes going at each other, but what about underwater? I want to see two submarines go at it, you know? So guys, that does it for me. I really enjoyed talking about today's episode, but this is where you come in. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I want to hear more of your opinions, because lately I've just been getting comments saying, hey, talk about this and that, but I want to know what you guys think about the topic that I'm talking about right now. So, yeah, leave your feedback in the comments below, and of course, continue submitting your topics. Do a mix of both, but that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.